Today I want to touch base on why am I even doing these videos. In the first video I talked about 3 focuses: international, adopting an older child, or in our case a teenager, and adoption as a first choice. I'm not an expert. This is our first adoption. We're still in the process of it. And so, it's not like we've done it 6 times. I'm not a social worker or anything like that. These videos or this idea stemmed from my journey and the education that we were given and the perspective that education came from. When you're going through the adoption process, there's mandatory education that you have to do. Some of it is books, some of it is online education, and this is where I found that the perspective that the education came from was from one of 2. So the first one being there were fertility problems, and so now you're choosing adoption. And so there would just be chapters, about going through that process and healing from that trauma and ways to deal with it and make sure you're ready before you bring a child into your home, which is a great resource for those who are going through that situation. The other situation or circumstance that the education came from was assuming that you were a couple that already had biological children, and so now you're ready to adopt. And so then how to, bring a child into your family and help the kids deal with that change and all of that. Again, a great situation for those who have biological children and are adopting. But like I said, that was the bizarre thing for me, was that all of the education that I was given, at least, stemmed from those 2 places. So never once was it really talked about, or never once did I find a book that came from the place of just choosing to adopt, that was the first choice, and, for whatever their reason was. So that's why I'm here, and that was the purpose of these videos. I was like, I can't be the only one, who grew up wanting to adopt. And when I did Google, online to try to find, I had to literally type in adoption as a first choice for even, like I said, anything to pull up about it. It was only a couple articles, and unfortunately, it felt like those articles came from a place of where they had to be defensive, of where their family or friends had maybe judged them a little bit on why they would choose adoption, or maybe, their parents were sad that they wouldn't have grandbabies, that were their DNA or whatever. And so that's unfortunate that what I did end up finding was from a place of feeling like that they had to be defensive of their choice. So, I said, well, then I'll go out there and I'll try to be supportive and be a network for people who are in our boat, since there doesn't seem to be a big network that exists already, like I said. And if you have found any good articles or any good books that do talk about just choosing adoption and wanting that to be your choice and having that be your choice, share it, let that knowledge be known. Because like I said, I haven't read every book, I haven't read every article. I'm only one person, but I'm just coming from my experience. And like I said, and the things that were recommended to me and the conversations that weren't had, and how we could have tailored education to be about each person's situation. So if you did have fertility issues, here are books, that mention that first. And if you have kids already and you're bringing an adopted child into your family, here are books that talk about that and how to deal with those issues. And, or, if you're just a couple and you just want to adopt, here are things that, having a first child, or just about international adoption in general, or, whatever, and have it be for those people. But I didn't find that last one. I didn't find that third venue at all. So like I said, if you have any of those resources, please share. I would love, like I said, we're not done with our adoption process yet. So I would still love just to read it, just to have, like I said, and have those tools and have someone feel like, they're supporting my choice of choosing adoption first. That would be great to have. And that's why I'm here, to hopefully be a great resource for other people like me and in our boat. So that is the scoop on the third prong of adoption first. And so in the next ones, we'll talk about international adoption a little bit more. And then I'll talk about adopting older children or adopting older teens and the struggle I had of finding resources for that situation as well. So then, speaking about education, one of the favorite books that I was recommended to read, and I'll probably read it again, was The Connected Child by Karen Purvis. It's just really good. I mean, it goes over anything from basic touch and eye contact to practical ways of dealing with a meltdown, and multiple ways, not just one way. My way is the highway. It gives you multiple approaches. And that's what I really liked. And that's what I'm trying to bring, with these videos. It's practical information and tools that you can apply. A lot of the videos when we were researching, it's like the 5 things I knew about adoption. And a lot of it is about, I wish I was more patient. And just a lot of kind of emotional things, which again, I think is great. And those are also helpful. But it was really hard to find things about what can I apply? What is a tactic of parenting that I can use for these children? And so this book really helps with that. I mean, you can literally, she'll give specific examples even of the kid did this, maybe you can try, handling it this way, or the child did this, try A, B, and C. And so that's the stuff I really like. I really like hands-on stuff. I really like practical stuff, things that people can apply and use. And when the crisis is happening, that you're able to fall back on your education and apply it to that situation. So again, I recommend The Connected Child. And it didn't approach with any certain history that the parent came from, which is another thing that I liked. It just kind of started from, hey, you're here, you're choosing to adopt. This is some stuff you might be dealing with, and this is how you might want to deal with it. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. For those of you who are choosing adoption as your one and only choice, I'm here for you. I'm a resource. Hopefully we can find more resources together. Speaking of such, if there is a book or an article that you have found that was really positive and did come with a great perspective of someone choosing adoption, please share it. Like I said, I'm still in this process, so I would love to read it. And then we'll just keep promoting and supporting adoption in general and each other and keep this train rolling.